think we should focus on claims, and then we can, if I
Our council is now resuming from some board of council or legal council. It's now 2:26 p.m. in the afternoon. We have a very long agenda to complete, so let's keep things moving. There's the MVQ curbside waste and recycling policy collection revisions. There has been a collaboration. It was revised by the environmental services supervisor, the director of infrastructure, and the policy analyst. The policy revisions are being submitted for council's approval. The recommendation is that council approve these policy revisions. And so I guess the documents were outlined in red, what the changes are, I understand. And so garbage fees will be increased to from $1.50 to $2, effective in June, I think it is, because the notice didn't go out in April. Is that correct? Okay, and then there's also in 9A that household hazard waste items are not included in the curbside collection program. Household hazardous waste, as outlined in Appendix C, shall be deposited at the waste transfer depot. The word transfer depot is in there, in the designation shed located on the airport as directed by the waste attendant, the waste transfer depot attendant. Those are the two changes that are recommended in that policy, and they have been incorporated in the residual curbside waste and recycling collection. Does council approve the policy amendment? If so, I need a mover.
I'll move, Chief.
Moved by Curtis.
I'll second.
And Obari.
Was this for the policy at the same time or just the spreadsheet that you just read out?
You're approving the amendment to the
Yep.
policy with those two things I just read?
Yep.
The rest of it stays the same? So I've asked the staff to highlight in red what the changes are, so it makes it easier for council to know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, the next,
They just got to add a road on their road breakdown.
okay.
But-
So the next one that we have is the MBQ waste transfer depot policy revisions. And I do not see anything highlighted in red, so what are the revisions? Other than it was revised in April 2024, which is now. Let me see if there's anything in this one here.
It's not highlighted in red, Chief.
Nothing.
It's just noted as revised.
Oh, what is highlighted is that the revisions were in April, so I guess that's what the motion then to, TMC approval? You're just adding that the last revision was in April 2024, is that correct, Sherry?
I can't see for sure.
Well, on this chart, it shows that the first section of the authority preamble was removed. It's not necessary within the policy. There was a revised policy statement. It was just below that.
Can I ask why there's inconsistency when?
Well, mine's not in red. It's
Yeah, they didn't highlight it.
Later, Chief. It's changed from and then changed to on our computers.
Oh, okay, I see, this is what okay, this is,
Yeah.
these are the changes. So changed from is removed, which section is that?
the authority preamble, whereas the waste depot is the sole location, that was removed. That's that first paragraph.
Okay, so that is whereas the waste depot is the sole location for the community members to deposit household hazardous waste, metals, tires, appliances, electronics, and large items and other options explored there. I resolve that the Will Council hereby empowers the waste depot operator to manage the depot according to the waste depot operations policy, including but not limited to request address information from persons who wish to use the waste depot, request the location where the waste was generated, refuse to access non-residents to the Mohawk territory, refuse not to generate within the community. Therefore, it be resolved that the post entitled newsletter waste depot policy effective May 2008 carried. So why is this not necessary in the policy? To let non-members know that they can't dump there?
I think we have to have an argument.
That's under the policy statement. Yeah, so under the policy statement.
Okay, so the new policy then will read, the Mohawks of Bay Quinte operate a waste transfer depot, which is the sole location for resident community members to deposit household hazardous waste, metals, tires, appliances, electronics, and large household items. Access to the waste transfer depot will be declined if the waste is from outside the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory, if the waste is generated by a business, or if the waste is not a list of accepted items. The policy outlines the procedure from accepting items of the transfer depot. So I guess that takes the
That's
place.
the new word.
That's the new wording for that same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So then we have a revision here. The waste transfer depot or designate shall be present at the waste depot during operating hours. In general, the responsibilities of waste transfer depot personnel are to monitor the site, collect payments, and ensure waste is deposited in the appropriate areas. The attendant will maintain weekly communication with the environmental services supervisor to inform them of the concerns raised by community members and any repairs or routine maintenance required at the waste transfer depot. And that's revised. There's a new section. Access to the waste depot is limited to registered members of the Mohawks who live on the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. A new item, the waste transfer depot shall only accept waste generated in the community. A revision, the current hours of operation are posted at the waste transfer depot, the MBQ website, and social media in Appendix A. Any changes to the hours of operation or temporary closure announcement will be posted on MBQ's website, social media, and community newsletter. If possible, temporary closures may be due to inclement weather, availability of the waste transfer depot attendant. Because people do get sick and sometimes they're away from work. The transfer depot gate is monitored and shall be locked when the waste transfer depot is not open. Access is prohibited when the gate is closed. That's a new statement. It's revised. Vehicular access to the depot is possible through the main gate along the airport road. It's revised. Committee members must inform the waste transfer depot attendant of the nature of their waste products to access the waste transfer depot. Only approved transfer waste may be disposed of at the waste transfer depot. Once the waste is approved, committee members must pay the attendant appropriately for all accepted waste items with an associated costs. The cost listed of acceptable items will be posted at the waste transfer depot and the MBQ website and social media and periodically in the community newsletter. If the items brought to the waste transfer are not on the cost list of acceptable item, the attendant will determine if the item may be acceptable and will be recommend the cost based on similar items. The attendant will supervise the disposal of approved waste to ensure that the waste is placed in the proper designated area. And the next page, the bottom is that only household hazardous materials will be accepted at the waste transfer, will be stored in the HHW garage, household hazardous waste garage. Following the items shall qualify as household hazardous waste. Cooking oil. Cooking oil, the new revised on the waste transfer accepts several large household items listed on the cost of acceptable items, Appendix A. Revised is all scrap metal is to be clean of all other materials, steel, appliances, electronics, TVs, computers, microwaves will be accepted at no cost. Tires are accepted at the waste transfer at no cost. During transitional fish harvesting season, green bins for fish will be located outside the gate of the transfer depot for proper disposal remains at no cost. Does council approve these revisions? So could I have a mover?
Move.
Aguari? Is there a second?
Second, G.
Curtis? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The sea lamprey trapping at the Shannonville Dam. They're seeking authority, seeking authorization signatures on the DFO statement of the work at the sea lamprey trapping an attached acknowledgement letter from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Dam Maintenance Program, both of which will be supported MBQ in hiring community members to carry out the necessary work to support the DFO in maintaining sea lamprey, invasive fish, and maintaining the dam. The work has been ongoing for years. By invoicing DFO, we recoup the cost of carrying out this work. I recommend the council authorize the two programs via signature of the DFO statement of work for sea lamprey trapping and the letter for DFO dam maintenance program. Does council approve? We've been doing this now for a number of years.
I move.
Ogwari? Is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Chief.
Chris Brandt? Is there anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The annual DFO contract sea lamprey trapping dam maintenance, is that a duplication? It is. It's got two of the same things. Okay. So I'll sign this contract. Contractor signature. So Sherry, are we becoming the contractor? Is this what I should sign? Yep. Okay. The letter is signed. The Sandy Pines Wildlife Center and MBQ collaboration approval for videos. As part of the relationship built between Sandy Pines Wildlife Center via MBQ CIER funding for species at risk and the Sandy Pines collaboration funding for education, MBQ Environment has been assisting the Sandy Pines in creating an educational course that will be offered online to elementary schools to support the environmental and cultural education. I'm seeking the Chief and Council's approval to include and make the public attached videos in the Sandy Pines Working Wildlife Center. Does Council approve?
I do have a copy of the video, but it's on a memory stick, so.
Where were the videos attached? I didn't see them.
Okay, can we still look at this video maybe the next council?
I can take a copy.
Okay. Who would like a copy of this video for Sandy Pines?
Yeah, Michael's not, yeah.
Okay, Chris and Curtis.
Send it to everybody.
Ogwari? Chris, do you want one?
Yes, please.
Chris Miracle? Aaron, do you want one?
Yes, please, if we're gonna put
Give the
something
whole
out, I
council
wanna
a stick
make sure
then.
it's,
Is this approved? If so, I need a motion.
Well, can we defer it till we watch the video?
Okay, you can. Is there a motion to defer?
I'll make a motion to defer.
I'll second it.
Aaron? Okay, anybody opposed to deferring it? Deferred then? Motion's carried. New business registrations. This one is for Duper Duds, Robert Boakes, owner. It's affordable e-commerce, affordable repair, no inspections or insurance required or per policy. Is Robert Boakes the band number?
It's a new business application.
And he's got bed number is 164.
I see it up top there, yeah. Okay. Does council approve this request? So we need a motion, mover and seconder.
This is, just, clothing store.
Yes, I believe
Online
so.
clothing store.
Is there a mover to approve it?
303 Airport Road, Unit 4, is that over at there?
I think it's across from the airport in
It's
the,
the
Oh, in-
cigar plaza thing.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
It's for affordable apparel. It's to make affordable apparel available.
Okay, I'll motion.
Chris Brandt, is there a seconder?
I'll second, Chief.
Curtis Brandt. Is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. There's a new business registration for Four Paws Pet Supply. The environmental and fire protections are completed. No insurance is required. And the recommendation, and Gabriel Henschel is the owner of this new Pet Paws Pet Supply.
It's for pet food, toys, everything to do with pets.
Is there a mover to approve this request?
I'll move that, Chief.
Chris Brandt, is there a seconder?
Yes, Chief.
Chris Miracle? Is anyone opposed?
I've got 2 jobs.
Is anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. There's a new business registration for Three Nations Traders owned by Deborah Smart. It's a convenience store on 49 Highway. Environmental inspections completed and no insurance is required. Is there a motion to approve this request?
Motion, Chief. I'll
What?
second that too.
Chris Miracle and Chris Brandt. Is anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. A business registration renewal for Kring's Fire System. Stan Kring is the owner. Installation and maintenance of automatic sprinklers. Environmental fire protection has been completed and insurance is on file. Do I have a mover to approve this request? And a seconder?
I'll move, Chief.
Curtis Brandt,
I'll second.
O'Gwari. Is anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. We have a business registration renewal for Mother Earth. The owner is Kathy Brown. It's a retail planting supply place. Environmental and fire inspections has been completed. No insurance is required. Recommendation is to approve. Does council approve? Need a mover and seconder.
I'll move, Chief.
Curtis Brandt,
I'll
Is-
second it.
Chris Brandt, seconder. Is anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. We have a business registration renewal. The Oasis Tobacco and Convenience Store on 49 Highway. Matthew Weldon is the owner. The environmental fire inspections were completed. The TSSA inspection has been completed. Insurance is on file as per the policy. Does council approve? So we need a mover and seconder.
Or is this the one you?
No, there was so on this one here, they have a TSSA inspection, but they don't have the certificate yet. Well, we were given that leeway for that, wasn't it?
Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
hear.
that was part of it.
Yeah, so Oasis is one of the stores that well, they got an inspection, but they never got their certificate yet.
Yes.
Okay, there's a delay from TSSA
Yeah, so I said this
for
is
6
one of the
months,
ones
and
that's
we
under
did
the-
make an allowance for that because they were behind with COVID.
Yeah.
So apparently the TSSA has been there, so I would presume that Diane Winkler has confirmed that.
Yeah, they attached to the report, the inspection report, but there's no certificate issued yet.
Okay, well, anyway, can you follow up to see when the certificates will be available? So does council approve it then, that knowing that the inspection has been done? And there were no deficiencies noted, right?
There was a bunch that were fixed.
They were already fixed.
Yeah.
So at the time of the inspection, they're fully compliant with the requirements of TSSA, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it says September 18th, the inspector conducted a follow-up inspection of the above address. This inspection is to determine if all deficiencies noted in previous inspection have been addressed and corrected. Deficiencies found in the previous report have all been addressed and corrected. The inspection is now complete.
Your motion, Warren?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
to approve it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved by Aguirre and seconded by Chris Brandt to approve. Does anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The business registration For 49 Quick Stop Gas Bar, John Brandt's the owner. Gas and convenience store is the nature of the business. Environmental and fire has been inspected. TSSA license has been provided. Insurance on file and with environmental coverage. Is there a mover?
I'll move that.
Chris Brandt. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Curtis Brandt. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried.
I was just gonna say this TSSA expires on September 14th, 2023.
Did they say that had an inspected?
I don't know if this was one of the ones that was in the list for extension.
Do you have any comments, Sherry, about the TSSA license has been expired?
I don't, but we can ask.
So is this one, when's the recent inspection report?
Brent.
Diana?
Where are you seeing that?
The very last page.
Yeah, on the last page, it does say that the report, the inspection had expired. So is there a new inspection?
I apologize about not speaking up sooner. Chief.
There were, I think there were 6 stations that did not get inspected for TSSA because TSSA was not doing inspections during the COVID period. When we had the meeting about 3 weeks ago with TSSA to follow up on that, a month ago, to follow up on that, they said they would get them done within the next few months.
Yeah.
So there's an
'cause
undertaking to do, and I don't know if this is one of them or not because there's no information to tell me that.
Diana.
Sherry's gone in to ask Diana.
Yeah, 'cause
She's
Fast
gonna have her
Fridays,
come.
Shelley.
Fast Fridays is
There she is.
Diane?
Hi, Diane.
The business registration for 49 Quick Stop, the TSSA inspection expired on September the 14th, 2023. Has this been inspected since?
The inspection was expired.
It says it expired September 14th, 2023.
Oh, the license.
So is this on that list of places they have to visit during that 6-month period?
No. This one was held up because they were refusing to get environmental insurance, so I've been pushing them on it and I finally got them to do that.
Okay, but they don't have a good TSSA inspection.
I just have to get it. The problem with some of these is the application started like in COVID. And they've been sitting, this is from 2022.
Yeah, but it shouldn't come on the agenda if they're
I
TSSA
didn't
inspection.
realize. I
Okay.
apologize.
So then what should happen here?
I just have to get their updated license. I know they haven't updated, they always continue.
So I think we have to defer this then.
Yeah, so
We're
I
gonna
noticed
defer
Fast
that.
Fridays is the same way.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna be for the 4 then, that's probably, they all come from the same owners.
Yeah.
And I did not realize, like I said, when this started, because the license, they do always,
Okay, could we just check these things to make, before they get put on the
I'm
agenda,
sorry.
for both the, you're at the executive level, review the agenda just to make sure that nothing like that happens, because
yeah,
the council shouldn't be
Agreed.
catching these errors.
I agree, I apologize for that.
That's no problem, just in future, but,
And let us know when they come through.
so how,
Should I just email you?
Yeah, Sherry.
okay, so,
Well, no, we'll have to put them back on agenda
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get them
exactly.
ready.
Okay, maybe-
Yes.
Okay, they'll be on the next meeting, because
Okay,
I'll
but-
call her and she'll have them to me in and out.
okay, well, just wait till we get through these ones, because maybe some of them are on that
They're
6-month.
all gonna be the same.
They're
Yeah,
all
all
gonna
four
be
are all
the same.
expired 20.
It's all been done through the same
Or 5.
office and the same person, and she gets me the
4.
stuff right away, and that is just my slip. I was dealing on the environmental, because we've been going back and forth, they did not.
So then the one so then we should do Fast Freddy's the same
Fast
way?
Freddy's,
Gas
Gas
and
and
go.
Gas and Go.
Okay, just wait, I can do one at a time.
Before.
Fast Freddy, let's go through the agenda that's on here. Is that one needs to be deferred?
Yes,
Yeah,
Who's gonna move that?
I'll move it.
I'll second that.
McGuire.
Can you find out when, I guess, are all these people willing to have the inspection done?
It's only one person.
They're all owned by the same.
Oh, okay.
So,
So
like
all
you said,
four-
she'll probably
that's
have it to you
four.
in an hour.
And
So-
our,
Before you were even done here today.
do we want to just hold them in for, until, go through the other items? And
Yeah,
come
we can
back?
do that.
We can hold the, okay, let's,
Let's hold them, you go and get them, and
I'll be able to tell you right away. whether-
so gas and go is one of them.
Free flow gas bar.
Yeah, so
That one expired in November.
free flow was a November, I believe.
Okay, so the next one that we're up to then, that's the gas stations in, so the next item. So Diane, if you want to see, we can
do you
get
want to
that.
go and
straight
get
in.
them?
That'll be good. Thanks.
Okay, the business registration for Millside Ceramics, Marlene Murphy is the owner. Arts and crafts, including studios, fire and environmental inspections completed. No insurance is required. The recommendation is to approve and sign. Is there a mover and seconder?
I'll move that.
I'll second,
Grant
Chief.
And Curtis. Approved, motion's carried. The business registration for Nation's Best Esso is also known as, is this one of these ones that has expired as well?
No, this is a brand new build.
This is a renewal.
Yeah, their expires in February of 2025, so that's good. Is there a motion to approve this one?
I'll approve it.
I'll
Aguari,
second, Chief. No.
Curtis. Motion's carried. The harvesting application. Aiden, Liam, Andrew Blackned, Bruce Cree First Nations, and Kieran Nicholas Welsh,
Whisky.
Welshie,
No, whiskey.
Wishchi,
Yeah.
Wishchi of Taekwa Tagmu
Where-
Nation contracted to MBQ to harvest ducks and geese in the Napanee area from March 26th to April 29th. Both men have status cards and a PAL as well have not expired. Does council approve this request?
I approve it.
Yeah, they both, they've got their conventions, yes.
You know them, Chris?
Yeah, I know them. I know those whiskey, yeah.
You're going to second the
I'll
motion?
second it, yeah.
And they're responsible with the gun and it won't trespass on people's property?
I'm hoping not. But I won't be there holding their hand, so I just know them.
Yeah, because otherwise we get,
Yeah, they're all, pretty respectful.
all right, James, Adam, Leslie, George. And
What next to?
Augusta
What next to? It's called.
Wamatsu First Nation has contacted the MBQ to harvest ducks and geese in the Lansdowne area. From May 3rd, he has provided a status card, both which have not expired. Joan Coley, a non-Indigenous man, will be accompanying as a guide. Well, we're not approving any non-native issue here, so we can issue the
letter for the person.
letter for the person that has the right to do that.
That's, James,
Yes.
that's, yeah,
Does council approve?
I'll approve it.
Ms. Brandt? Is there a seconder?
I'll second, Chief.
Moved by Chris and seconded by Aguari. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Motion is carried.
He's, from where I used to, teach hockey.
What's the next one there? The young lad there, his status card expired in 21.
But it's, yeah, status card, but it doesn't not make them.
No, I know, but-
Status.
So Robert,
Yeah, might turn
there's a
that.
harvesting application request from Robert Miles and Riley Miles have contacted MBQ to harvest in Madoc area from May 29th to June 30th. Robert Miles' status have not expired. Miles' status card is not expired. However, he's waiting for a PAL in the mail. At the time, partisan will use a bow. We'll send him his PAL as soon as it comes in. Sign the letters and return to Stephen Lindsay and James Miles, a member of the Chippewa Nation of Kettle and Stony Creek. And Earl Miles is a member of Chippewa's Nation in Stony Creek. Does council approve?
I'm just wondering if there's gonna be any implications with the M&R if he does get stopped with a expired status card as well.
No, they don't do that.
Okay.
No, they don't do that. I'll approve it, chief.
Chris Brandt, is there a seconder? Is there a seconder for this request?
Which one is it, Chief?
The Miles, Robert and Riley Miles.
His band card is expired, but yeah, all you have to do is go to his,
Indian Affairs and get a renewal.
yeah, just get a renewal. It looks like his is one of the bank cards, like the paper ones that we used to get, right?
Well, I still get that.
We still use them.
I still have mine too.
Yeah.
I don't have to do
Are you waiting for a seconder, Chief?
I am.
I'll second it.
Okay, Chris Miracle, the seconder. Been moved by the two Chris's. Is there anybody opposed? Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. Waive the fee for the firearms safety course for Lucas Brandt. It is recommended that council approve the request of Lucas Brandt for the chief to sign the letter and return to Stephen Lindsay for delivery via email. Does council approve to waive this fee?
Oh, is that just for his pal?
That's the first pal, yeah.
I'll
I'll
second
motion
it.
it.
I'll second it.
Yeah, just with any kind of anybody that's looking at getting their firearms and their pal, if we have the chief sign the letter, they can send it in and they don't have to pay to get their licenses.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
is good.
The Bay of Quinte Film Board representative, and our apologies, Ogwari, if we misunderstood, but they just asked for a representative, so since you deal on that tourism stuff, I think we'll appoint two, a political liaison and a staff liaison, so can we just add Diane Winkler to that list? They said it's more of a staff function than it is a political
I
position.
have no problem with Diane taking it. It's fine.
So then we will then replace Ogwari with Diane as a staff person because it's more staff oriented.
Yeah, on the film.
So just note that because it's a more of a staff function that we'll appoint, we'll delist Ogwari and we'll put Diane Winkler in that position. Is there a mover?
I'll move that one, chief.
Ogwari? Is there a seconder? Is there a second for Ogwari's motion? to have
Sorry,
Diane-
Chief. Yes, I'll second.
Oh, I'll second it. I'm sorry. I keep.
Did
working
you
myself
did you
over
second?
here, but
Did you
there's a
second?
delay.
It's been moved by Ogwari and seconded by Chris Miracle. The motion is carried.
Getting late, sorry.
Derek Wong's invoices, Derek Wong, February 24th, $10,283.10 for invoice number 854, and it relates to the various economic development ventures. The motion is to approve the invoice. Is there a mover? And seconder?
I'll move, chief.
Ogwari? Is there a seconder?
I'll second it, chief.
Chris Brandt?
Gave you time, Jim.
And I'm happy to see that you're not making gestures because people might be listening. They have to hear your voice. The motion
Is that for both invoices, Chief?
No, just the one invoice.
There's two on this.
Two from Derek Wong. This for
That's
both.
right. One for
Is there?
February, one for March.
It is both for both invoices.
Yeah.
Yes.
I put invoices, two of them, okay? Carried. So Hicks Morley invoice, these are usually HR issues. The recommendation is to pay the invoice for $616. Do I have a mover and seconder?
I'll move that, chief.
Is there a seconder?
Oh,
I'll second, Chief.
Curtis Brandt?
Oh, Aaron,
Aaron, okay.
yelled.
Okay,
You
it's been
didn't
moved
put up
by
your
Chris
hand, Aaron.
Brandt and Aaron. Is there-
Okay.
Just joking.
Aaron,
Oh,
you
I
did
did.
second. Aaron, you did second that?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I'll leave it to you guys in the circle there because there's a little delay on my end, but if it's not moving, I'll chime in here too.
Okay. Okay, that's great then. So by Chris and Aaron, is anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. The house foundations. The council did request some information about this here, which is the better option, the slab on grade or the traditional footings. And Tom did reach out to, I think, an engineer or something like that, a consultant, and TMC has requested further analysis for the footings to be used on the tiny project proposed for North Street to determine if a traditional foundation or slab on grade is more suitable or appropriate for use on this project. And the recommendation is to utilize a traditional footing approved to obtain carbon concepts to complete the building plans for the tiny houses for project for $2,950. Does council agree with this analysis?
I do not, Chief.
You do not? Can you explain why?
Yes, so there's one for quarry.
I'm not reading an engineer.
No, I just want you to be aware of the fact that this is all been studied to death.
Is it because it's so wet there? Is that why they're the sites are different though in terms of where these granny houses are? It's not wet there.
No, my concern, Chief, is that the briefing note is incorrect. The briefing note is incorrect, which is misleading for council. The consultant's opinions are fraught with errors which are incorrect. I will send you folks a report. I tried sending you a report that complements that booklet. So back in '96, I worked with an engineer who was already doing slab on grade designs for houses in Brighton. They won a zillion awards. He freely shared that design with us, which we used in the granny houses back in '96. And they were used across the country based upon this booklet and our success. That designed 3 or 4 national awards in particular. Subsequent to that, CMHC commissioned a booklet, research report, insulated slab on grade foundations, 18 pages. I'll send it to you folks, but basically it mirrors this, but they had engineers, consultants, architects
Okay, so first of all-
reiterate this, Chief. And what it says, your reports from your consultants, I believe some of them probably have never done a slab on grade in their life, but they're saying you need a professional engineer. You do not need a professional engineer. The introduction to the guide that I'll send you. Okay, design is intended to give the builders the knowledge and confidence to design and construct trouble-free foundations for design and site conditions that fall within the guidelines in this booklet. A frost-protected slab-on-grade foundation can be designed and constructed using the information in this guide without having to retain a professional engineer.
Okay,
I don't
so-
know how many engineers and architects got to say that a tried and proven 30-year-old concept works. And I don't like being told you need PNGs. I don't like consultants telling me I need PNGs when for 30 years we have not had to do it. It's misinformation at best.
So what are the qualifications of this carbon concept? What is he? Is he an engineer or what is he?
That's a she, I think.
What is that person?
Designer. So that person said it. The other designer said it. Tommy said it. But slab over 400 required design with PNG. That's not true, Chief.
Okay, so then you're challenging this Quan Ten's engineer's opinion?
No, I'm challenging the director. I'm challenging Show Me. I'm challenging Who's that one you mentioned?
I'm just trying to make sense of this here email. It's, if they are required to be built with a covered porch as shown in the rendering and require a couple of steps, then my opinion is that it would be slightly cheaper and easier to construct the building with a conventional poured concrete foundation with a 3 to 4 inch thick slab on grade.
Yeah.
To do it with floating slab, you would need to construct the slab below the porch as well as construct curbs above the slab to accommodate the raised floor. It's also easier to run plumbing and sewer pipes for conventional poured foundation. However, if the sites have shallow bedrock, floating slabs may be solely worth considering because rock removal would be expensive. Hope that the above helps. So I don't know, what are the conditions there with the soil and rock and all the things that the
It said
engineer-
bedrock was confirmed at 4 feet.
Hmm?
In the bottom of that paragraph, it says bedrock was confirmed at 4 feet deep.
Yeah, so,
There are geotechnical reports there as well.
yeah, so I'm not digging my heels in and saying that site
It's
has
west.
to be slab on grade. Well, with proper drainage, you can build there, chief, slab on grade. But my point is, you're being told by your staff that what has to be engineered, and then the consultants are telling him have to be engineered, and
That's-
none of it's true.
That's false. That's right. I won't know what Chris is mean because when I came home many years ago, like going on over 20 years ago, I had Bud Miracle. It was my design. The house was my design. Bud suggested over on the 49, which is Smoke Signals now, who purchased it off me, slab on grade. And he told me how much cement I would need, how much this, how much that. And only how he determined that is because of experience out in the field. So he didn't need, I didn't need to spend $20,000, $30,000 on a consultant to tell me the same thing that Bud could tell me as a builder for zero money. So once again, I built my second house, slab on grade. I didn't have any consultant. KC Builders, Kevin Kuhn, came in. He suggested, okay, this is what you need. This is how much you need. And still, over 20 years ago, that the slab on grade has not even cracked. Not yet. I'm not saying it's not going to another 20 years down the line, which is 40 years, but that's, I think having a consultant come in for every single project is a waste of money. Just to be honest.
Okay.
Especially when they're
But
wrong.
do they require it though for the funder? This is gonna go for funding, so does it, do the
Okay.
funders request, they've changed their rules since 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, chief. The funders, who's the funders? Indigenous Services Canada. Who's the funder? CMHC. Guess who sponsored this booklet? Guess who commissioned us? Guess who paid me to travel the country promoting this for 17 years? CMHC. Who else is a funder? Indigenous Services Canada. They provided booklets and USB sticks for hundreds of First Nation communities to replicate the same thing. OFN, TSC, and Indian Affairs commissioned the other
Because-
study.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened with the emergency house that we had. We had to have stamp engineering drawings to be able to get access money.
Well, no, I don't believe that either, chief.
Well, it's true. I personally dealt with it. I know it's true.
Well, I could have picked up the phone and called Siva, the housing director, and he would have said, sure.
We did that.
I didn't.
I did, and they insisted. Stephen was part of that
I'm-
call. He
I'm
was
ready
on pushing
to-
it.
I'm ready to let you have the portfolio, chief, because
No,
I'm tired of being undermined,
I'm just telling you what happened.
and I'm just telling you what happened. Every time there's an issue, you say something different. If it's rap or Hassie, you say something different. And
No,
it
I'm just telling you, in that case, what I'm just saying, have their standards changed from that experience? I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying what we experienced was, in that case, they said they had to have stamped engineering drawings for the design of the house. So that's why we used the house we did, because we already had
And so
drawings.
do we have to have a stamp design from a consultant for every single house that we build?
I think what we need to do
Is
is have
that
a
what is
meeting.
being requested? Excuse me. Is that what's being requested in this? In the briefing note, it looks like I don't see anything being requested to have a consultant. It's weighing the options. They've provided the information for traditional versus slab on grade. they've
So we
had a
have-
geotechnical investigation that's provided on this, so I'm just wondering, what's the, consultation or the,
But when we built houses before, we didn't have to have all that.
Okay, I would like to see an analysis of the costs. If you guys are hell-bent on going a full 4-foot frost walls, I want to see the cost-benefit analysis of simply pouring the 4-foot frost wall down onto the rock
Okay,
and coming up versus using ICF and burying it. The reason for having ICF is to provide insulation to protect the wall and insulation to keep the basement warm. There is no basement. So then why do you need ICF?
Okay, I'm not saying that I'm against what you're saying, Chris. All I'm asking for clarity is, has the funder changed the rules and do they require these stamped engineering drawings? If so, I want to see that in writing.
Okay,
That's what
I
I'm-
can ask Tom to step in and. he
Because
can speak
that's
to
what
that.
I've been told.
I'm going to reach
Sherry,
out
I
to
didn't hear
Siva.
you. Sherry, I couldn't hear you because,
I can ask
being
Tom
talked
to
over.
step in so he can answer some of those questions. Is that what you'd like me to do?
Well, should we call Steven now and ask him?
No, just leave it, Chief.
Okay,
I'm
'cause
gonna
I've got his phone.
contact Siva and I'm gonna broach it with him. But
Okay.
if you want to reach out to Tommy afterwards, and if you want me to read it as an email, but I don't want to engage in a conversation and a debate on it.
Okay, what do you want to
But-
do? Defer with this until we get clarity?
No, you guys can go ahead and hire someone to do the design, but in the interim, we can quickly have a discussion while that's proceeding on, is it an ICF foundation, or is it a slab, or is it a 4-foot frost wall without insulation?
Okay,
Like,
so
I don't know anything
I'll
about
send an
buildings.
I know, Chip, okay, you can't be an expert on everything.
I'm not.
So I'll just send a quick email and you can discuss it with Tommy, but by all means, get moving on selecting plans.
Because I've been told by Tom, in that one case I was involved with, that we had to have stamped engineering drawings. Otherwise, we couldn't get funding.
So maybe in his recommendations, then we'll defer item 1. And item 2 is to approve and obtain carbon concepts to complete the building plans for the tiny houses.
let's just say.
Is that what you're suggesting, Chris?
so are we saying that the geotechnical investigation that was completed was not accurate?
I haven't reviewed the geotechnical in great detail yet. I challenge the people saying you need to have a PNG when all the documentation I have says you don't.
Okay, that's
And I will
one
follow up with
portion. Yep, that's one portion of it, but this also includes the geotechnical investigation completed for this site included recommendation for the foundations which are included below.
Okay,
So
so I
that
got
portion
it.
of it from the geotechnical investigation has them recommending footings must be placed such that they will be a minimum of 1.45 meters below the finished ground
I
elevation
kindly
for
ask
frost
council if we
protection.
can have one person talking at a time, please.
Oh, sorry, I was talking. I couldn't hear
No,
other people
Aaron,
talking.
please go ahead. We can't hear if there's other conversations happening.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
So this briefing note does include the geotechnical investigation that was completed for the site, which says that in highlighted too, that the footings must be placed such that they will be a minimum of 1.45 meters below the finished ground elevation for frost protection. It's suggested that spread or stripped footings may be placed onto the undisturbed subsoils.
So,
Anyway, there's a whole paragraph there.
yeah, and whether that's just been wordsmithed and extracted, maybe this PNG has even heard of insulated slab on grade, because a lot of the engineers, they're dealing with 30, 40-year-old technology, especially civil guys, so.
Well, I think we have to rely on these reports to help guide our decision making. We can't
Well, I think.
make those assumptions that they're pulling information that's inaccurate.
Yeah,
Well-
no, you're right, Sherry, that they're, in a sense that they're the professionals, but you take something like the bedrock foundation and the fractured IRULS bearing capacity of 706 kilopascal. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to anybody? I mean, there's a lot of different
Terminology.
factors involved and the capacities that really, what is it meaning to us? I mean, that's, they're writing something up that looks real fancy, but what does it mean? I mean, yeah, they are the professionals. I get that. And,
They, did anybody get a chance to review the briefing note? Because they've put it in beautiful layman terms, which really helped me out. Like there's pictures, there's diagrams. And it's quite clear that they've done what we requested. We requested to have that geotechnical information provided, and all of that has been provided. And I feel like now to not go ahead with this when the information is right here on so many different levels, that we're not trusting the people that we've been employing.
Well, I'm not saying not to proceed. I'm just saying when some of your consultants are saying you have to have an engineered foundation, maybe they're wrong.
oh, okay, the video.
It's only 16 minutes, so we might be able to watch it.
Okay, so anyway, can we, what I've heard from this conversation, we should defer utilizing the traditional footing, then approve to obtain carbon concepts to complete the building plans for the tiny houses for $2,950. That we're going to proceed with 2 and defer 1.
But can you really,
So
Can you do one without the other?
no, because if they're gonna do foundation wall, then they're gonna put a floor down. If they're doing, or no.
Well, they want to put a frost wall and then pour a slab on top.
Okay, and Chris wants to follow up with SEVA, the housing guy at Indigenous Services Canada, to see if they require engineering drawings to get funding for projects.
I'll
Sorry.
I'll follow up with Siva tomorrow, okay, Chief?
That's fine.
over
Okay.
here,
Just,
you.
and
And get him to
So-
send us an email.
yeah.
So
and-
Erin has her hand up, please.
Yeah.
Aaron, go ahead.
So that's just one point on the second option, like the slabs over 400 feet, 400 foot point 2 are required to be designed by a professional engineer. This will add cost to the design fee, but there's a bunch of other information there as well. So that is just one point, like all of the information that was requested for this project is put into this document. And I am comfortable, all of the information has been provided to us to move forward with this with this project.
Okay, so you think both 1 and 2 should be approved, and other council member says defer 1 and
I'm
proceed
okay
with
with
2.
moving forward. If we defer, I feel like we're beating a dead horse here. Like the information that we requested has been provided and it's not good enough. I feel
No,
like,
part of it is incorrect, like 100% potentially incorrect. And where I'm going with this is that we have council items coming up where they're requesting hundreds of thousands of dollars of MBQ money on top of the external funding. And I'm saying the hundreds of thousands required on the next item and on this item and the last few, you add it up. Well, there's $1.5 million of our money going in to supplement external funding, and I don't know if CMHC uses the formula that they give their allocations on. It's called maximum unit price. So we say $250,000 to build a house in the south, or 300 in the north, 400. Can you do it First Nation? Historically, we always come in under maximum unit price, and now all of a sudden, every single project is requiring huge input of hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're not getting back because the rent's going to retire the mortgages and O&M. And that's the last year or two, and now $1 million of our money has gone up to top up building houses to this level and scale where we're in a housing crisis. That million could have built 20 little houses. And all of a sudden, the waiting list goes down significantly.
Okay, I want clarity on whether this is a funding requirement for Indigenous Services Canada and CMHC, and I want it in writing.
I'll talk to Siva tomorrow, Chief.
okay, so
I just
even-
have another observation in this report, the reports that have been provided to us by the Director of Housing and Band Property. It is noted in the information and feedback from the analysis that has been provided by a couple of the different contractors that the cost differences between the two applications is negligible. So they're basically costing very similar amounts of money.
And just to add to that as well, Sherry, so if, I understand that we don't want to have to deal with the professional engineers, is that the PENG or the, whatever, that abbreviation that Chris Merkel uses, is that professional engineer?
Yeah.
So if we completely take that out, or if that is the issue, then going with the traditional foundation that's recommended would negate that anyway, because you don't need one for the traditional foundation. And also it's recommended by the geotech to have the traditional foundation.
With regard to the emergency house, that is slab on grade, and they didn't have an issue with that, but the house itself, they wanted to see stamped engineering drawings.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if the concern is to pay a professional engineer, then option one would support that, because you don't need to pay a professional engineer for the traditional foundation.
Because they've been used forever.
So that would
Chris?
support that recommendation, and then also still support option one, which is the other recommendation, to approve with the traditional foundation for the tiny homes, and then,
That's not to say that perhaps the other application might be more advisable in other locations.
The only thing I was concerned about is Linda brought up that it's very wet there on North Street. And
It
I
says
know it
that.
is. I've been by there in the springtime, and it is wet. Where some of these other locations, it's not wet.
That's right. And it says that in that report, the geotechnical report says
And so
it's a
does that,
very wet area.
does wet areas influence what needs to be done?
Yes. Has to.
according to this report, it does too. It saes the traditional foundation.
Okay, so then I guess,
Oh, sorry.
is it too wet there that one of these options will not work? That's the question. I don't know.
Says
Chris?
the slab on ground fit foundation is recommended for areas where the ground doesn't freeze. So if it's wet back there, it will freeze.
Chris, do you have any comments? I don't know.
May I ask who funded the 2 transitional homes that were built at Red Cedars? Who funded them?
Well, some of them came from Brockville and some
No, not the 2 that we got 2.5 years ago. Nobody funded them. We got them for free. The 2 that the 5 Mohawk women and Cal Sparks, award-winning homes at Red Cedars, who funded that? Indian Affairs?
Chief, do you know who funded
Well,
those?
I know ALFDC, we're buying 2 from them, right?
No. The 2 that we built, that we won the housing award last fall,
I would think it was probably Indigenous Services Canada.
okay? Why was I allowed to do it?
But then what we had then, when it came time to deal with them, there was the certification of the electricity, and that one that we bought. in Red-
I'm talking foundations, I'm not talking electrical, chief. My point is, Siva, I helped mentor that guy 15, 20 years ago. He's brand new off the street. He's not gonna, and anything MBQ wanted to do, if you want to do something, chief, housing wise, no one questioned it, because it's Mohawk Bay of Quinny. And that's why we did it, and no one had issue with it, including the housing
It
director,
used
but
to
now all
be
of a
that way,
sudden,
Chris,
it's not
but
allowed.
It used to be that way, but
I'm
lately,
talking just months ago.
okay. So what are we doing here? I've got different views from council. There, one is saying
This is a new
defer.
project, a
the
different
traditional footing
project.
issue. One is saying approve it all.
No, I'm supporting getting that lady, I think it's a lady, I think she's from the community here, to get moving on the design. I will talk to Siva tomorrow just to get clarity for moving forward, because it's going to impact an item, I think 38 on the agenda. But I can't sit here in good conscience have my council and staff being told, you got to do this, this, and this, when it's incorrect. It's incorrect. No matter how it's incorrect. I just gave you a case in point.
So I just want to, the incorrect part. Which part is incorrect? Is this entire briefing note incorrect? Is this geotechnical survey incorrect? They're all liars?
I said, I'm not speaking to the geotechnical. I'm speaking to the director's statement saying it has to be PNG. I'm speaking to your consultant saying it has to be PNG'd, and it does not.
They're
I
not
don't see
saying it
any
has to be, they're
recommendation in here
recommending.
for a consultant.
They're making recommendations based on what they know of the location and the methods used. They're making a recommendation. It's up to us, what which way we want to go. They're not saying do not. It's a recommendation.
Well, there's a
There's also
recommendation
no
and there's a
commentary on
statement,
here
and the
about a
statement
consultant.
says we have to have a PNG. It's in black and white by these consultants
you
and your
ch-
director, black and white saying you have to have a PNG.
Or the slab on grade foundation, which is not the recommendation anyway. So if we go traditional foundation, we don't have to have a P engine. We're done with that section.
So Aaron, you're saying go with the traditional foundation, then go ahead and get the plans engineered.
Yes.
So
The,
are you agree with that, Chris, or not? No, I'm
tired of
asking.
talking about this over and over and over, and I'm being told by people that have
Okay, but I thought I heard
too
you
much
say,
experience.
okay, you want slab on grade.
No, I'm not saying I want slab on grade. I'm saying the statements made in writing are categorically incorrect.
And then you're going to follow with SEVA and TRIM at CMHC to see if that is their requirement.
Steve is at Indian Affairs.
Yes,
But I'll
I
follow up
know
with
that.
CMHC too, though.
Both.
Any,
And I requested both be put in writing to the council. Do they require for anything, for funding applications, they're considering a professionally engineered design? That's all I'm asking. Is it a requirement or is it just recommended?
yeah, that's,
Chris?
we're talking about this, the houses that are going on North Street, low-laying, possible, wet area.
Well, the ground,
Obviously, you've got to get the house up, whether it's first backfilling so that the house is sitting higher
yeah.
than the flooding area.
I don't think it floods, but I think the issue was that it's on a hill and there's a downward slope of the water that comes downhill. And so the soil conditions there would be naturally wetter. That's what I thought I heard them say at the last meeting.
In any case, whether you add soil, okay, you add soil to bring it up to a level and you run your slab on grade, or you put in a foundation, which might be that, the IntegraSpec block that, Chris was talking about. It's, the styrofoam blocks to get that same house up to a higher level, but then you also have to backfill it no matter what anyway.
Like,
So-
I'm not against, the slab on grade. I don't want anybody to interpret that way. I just don't know. I'm not an engineer. I know all these issues have been raised in this conversation and in these reports. And I do know the one case that I was involved with, that they did require stamped engineering drawings for the building, but they didn't take issue with the slab on grade. But again, it wasn't wet there either.
So these are
We're beating a dead horse is what we're
yes,
doing.
yes, exactly, Aaron, but I'm just trying to understand, are these the tiny houses that are going in there, or are they,
They're
Yeah.
tiny houses.
they're tiny houses that are already built,
No.
but they're the ones that are coming
Okay.
from the AFLDC?
No.
They're going to Shannon.
These are the 12 new ones.
Then-
Six
then-
and
They're
fifth.
brand new.
They're
built.
gonna be
So
built
then the other thing, there seems
Okay,
to,
who's building those ones then?
between BPM and contractors.
Our
Okay.
own, and yeah.
it's on the agenda then to award it 12 to a contractor.
Half will be built
So
by us.
was the
half will
motion,
be
what was the motion of
contracted.
council not conveyed to them? Because it said all 12 were supposed to be built by a contractor. That's coming up
No,
on
I
the
thought the
agenda.
motion you made was BPM does 6 and contractors.
That was the motion.
Yes.
But what I'm seeing on the agenda that I read yesterday, it looks like 12 are
Wrong.
going to a contractor. There were six to a contractor and 6 MBQ built.
On what agenda, Chief?
What's that?
On what agenda?
I read it here in this agenda here.
I think you're talking about, that's a new submission, chief.
Okay.
It just happens to be the same amount.
Oh, it's
we're
a new
talking.
submission.
Yeah.
Okay. Could be.
But again, though, we're going down another project where hundreds of thousands of dollars in
Okay.
overruns.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is a technical question
I
and
don't
a
think
policy
that
issue.
that's-
Aaron,
is-
go ahead.
He's answered our technical question. This is what we've asked for, this briefing note to outline the geotechnical information to the differences in the traditional and slab on grade foundation. They're both there. We keep talking about the professional engineer, and even if we take that completely out, the recommendation is still to go with the traditional foundation that's in the document, this complete document that's been provided to us.
Yes, my director has provided council with the information that was requested.
And the counselor, Chris, is saying that a professional engineering is not needed.
I think this whole thing segued from the two tiny houses we got in Brockville 2.5 years ago that the engineer design said they go on piers. And I said, why don't you put them on there as per the engineer? And then they went to a full ICF basement. And I said, well, why don't we just go ICF? I mean, why don't we just go slab on grade as opposed to burying an ICF full foundation in the ground?
They have a-
And
they
all of a
have
sudden now
crawls.
it's gone on to this.
So I think, Chris, the ones in Chandler just have a crawl space. They don't have a basement. It's just there's a trap door under there. You can get underneath there if you need to.
Please don't tell me a crawl space, chief.
I don't know. I was there. That's what I saw. So
You know, crawl
If we
space is
stick
just a
to what
waste
this
of,
briefing note
because there's
is
even
and the
a crawl
proposal at
space
hand-
is there a basement under some of them?
No.
No, I don't believe there's basements in any of these tiny homes.
No, she's talking about the two that,
In Chandler, I didn't
Oh.
think there was either,
I don't
but
know.
and not the two
stand to be corrected.
transitionals either.
I think there's a crawl
those
space.
two have got, whatever you want to call them.
You call it a
If
basement?
we,
Yeah. Because whatever you want to call them, I don't care. It's just, they buried money by doing.
Yeah, when you're, and
I-
that was what I was kind of talking about before, is in any kind of low laying area, the house has to be higher. It's got to be higher, no matter if you first backfill and you put a slab on grade, or if you do your ICF blocks all and you spend all that money, but you've got to bury it anyway, and it's money under the ground.
Anyway, what's the motion of council? Let's have a motion here.
I think we should make this motion based on the current project, the information at hand, not past information, past projects. This is the information we asked to move forward on this project, and it's all been provided. So based on this information, I'm comfortable motioning that we move ahead with this project as recommended in the briefing note.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second, chief.
Chris, how are you voting?
And what is the motion, chief?
Just to move ahead as recommended.
To get the young
To
lady.
utilize a traditional foundation to obtain the carbon concepts to complete the building plans for the tiny houses project for $2,950. Just what's on the statement there. Aaron's moving, and Aguari's second. Are you in favor or not in favor?
I'm in favor of getting a design done, chief. But I'll go on the record saying the recommendations are inaccurate at best. So if people want to accept inaccurate information as acceptable, knock your socks off. I don't.
What information is inaccurate concerning the engineering drawings?
It's just, I'll call CMHC, chief. We've been talking about this for round and around and around. We did this 2 weeks ago
Okay.
on the same thing.
Hey, and Chris Brandt, where do you stand? Are you-
I'm gonna stand neutral because I know how I would do it myself, but you know, this is people's money in a sense, and I know it's only what 2,000 and what.
So you're abstaining from voting?
I'll just stand neutral. Yeah.
You can either vote in favor, you can oppose it, or you can abstain.
Abstain meaning,
You didn't vote.
okay, I'll abstain.
Curtis, how are you voting?
I have to agree with Chris. I am dead set against burying money too. I did slab on grades. That's just,
Personally, I've never had a problem with it. I mean, if it's done the right way.
I know they presented the whole thing, but
Okay, I'm not technically minded on this stuff, so I have to rely on what other people inform me, okay, about construction standards. And so I have to rely on professional advice. I know Chris has got a lot of knowledge and skill in that area because that's what he's worked in for a number of years. But there's also this other engineering, and Chris is going to bring back more information about whether or not all of this stuff is required by the funders. So I need to have that information before I can make a decision.
Okay. Can you email that, Chris, tomorrow after you talk to,
Yeah.
what's his name? Siva?
Siva?
See about Pia.
Anyways,
At the end of the day, if you want to move forward with the slab on grade, if that's the decision of council, then that's the decision you make, and that's how our administration will go.
Okay, so I'm going to make
That's-
a motion. I'm going to say I'm not going to vote on this because I'm waiting for some information from Siva and Trim. And so then I'm going to request that this item be deferred because we don't have consensus here. And Linda's away.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Can we have a motion to defer it? So that just put that motion is not carried. Because I'm waiting for information that Chris is going to get and clarity from Trim in about the professional engineering thing. So can we have a motion to defer this to next council?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Is there anybody opposed to tabling it till next council? Seeing none, the motion's carried.
okay, chief, I have to be excused.
Okay, thank you. So do we still have quorum? We have 1, 2, 3
Aaron.
councillors and Aaron. So I guess we have quorum, we have 4 here. Proposed creation and implementation of a rental selection committee for the selection and placement of new tenants within MBQ portfolio. And one of the things that we have to underscore is the issue of confidentiality of other people's business. If that gets carried out into the community, it creates liability for the band. Chris?
Yeah. May I ask that we defer this, because the last item on the council agenda, I put on there is for a community meeting. Hopefully we'll discuss all aspects of the community, but there's a couple of items I'd like to discuss with the community. We just received an email from a community member, I think today or yesterday, regarding the whole allocation process. I would like to, as that person is saying, put it back out to the community as to the community will have significant more input on who gets the house as opposed to 3 or 4 people on a committee. And I sent the email to Sherry, and I hope when I get the information, all council gets it. I want to see the existing criteria, which is written, the existing criteria that the selection committee uses to make their decisions. I don't want a regurgitated verbal overview. I want to see what in writing they have.
Okay, now one thing that we cannot have at a community meeting is how come the band staff, she
I know.
got a house and how come she gets, is it just because, I can't answer that kind of question
No.
because I'm breaching their confidentiality.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be put in that position in front of the community.
No.
I'll put everybody else in, so I'll say I'll have the council answer. And if you can't, because the questions are answered, you have the information, but you can't breach confidentiality.
Correct. And then
We don't discuss individual applications.
Yeah.
Unless that person whose information is giving you permission to discuss it publicly.
So I'm
And
asking.
if that happens, we will get lawsuits galore that we
Right.
don't need.
Okay. So I'm asking council to defer it until council gets a chance to look at, here's what the point system looked like when we made selections. Here is the current process that the selection committee uses. And then have a community meeting and say, okay, we looked at a proposed
Okay,
restructuring of this committee. We've looked at how the point systems were used, and we heard from the community, and then we revamped the whole selection process.
okay, then this
Did-
needs to go to a policy meeting?
Well, I want community input, chief.
That's true, but I guess you want council to be informed about the point system. They're not using the point system.
I know that, chief, but I
It's just
want,
date of application.
Okay, so I want council to get their head around the fact, date of application, how that's all interpreted, having a point system, and then also getting a chance to hear from the community. Again, you have to take with a grain of salt, you know. But at least you've heard from the community, you've heard how it used to be done, you hear how it's currently being done, and then we heard from here. Now, how are we going to move forward with everything in mind?
Really, what we need to do is we need to get on with building more houses to begin to tackle
That's
this
a different matter,
this
Chief.
backlog of need. Otherwise, we're going to be splitting hairs to try to, because people say, well, they have a family, they have small kids, they should be the priority.
Yeah. Okay, so
Someone should, how come somebody who applied after me gets ahead of me? And if you have more kids than the more kids you have, the more likely it is you're going to get a house. I mean, people just feel all this criteria we have to work with it is really creating an issue in the community.
well, I think the recommendation is to take it back to the community. Yeah, I make a recommendation that, and I know that I made a recommendation months ago to have existing long-term tenants be a part of that selection committee.
And what I think you might have is everybody's just going to be talking about their own specific application. And I cannot discuss specific applications in front of the community.
Yeah.
That's right, well, that's,
Yeah.
everybody will bring up their.
Everybody's going to say what I want for themselves. That's what happened in the last committee meeting. Clifford wants you to buy the bank. Somebody else wants mental health money, and somebody else, felt that the questions were manipulated.
Yeah. No,
Which they
so
weren't.
Going back to the point that I raised months ago, saying, let's consider, we have some tenants that have been there 25, 30 years. They're a fixture in that subdivision if they live in the subdivision. They know that place inside and out. And they're going to want to select people who are going to be good tenants. They know what's lacking. They know what we could have. What better than someone who lives in that small community than potentially being on a committee? And I was told we need to get a legal review of that. But now come back, it never did come back.
But the council did approve to have this committee.
And this request is actually for just to approve the terms of reference.
To prove the terms of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I read were not terms of reference about confidentiality, what the work is they do, if you're going to use a point system, what are they going to use?
Well,
Just
actually,
whoever they think it needs it?
It's in the folder, and it's the Rent Selection Review Committee terms of reference.
Terms of reference, initial direction, structure, governance.
Yeah. Quorum, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I really think, I
And
agree
it
with
also
the housing
references the
department would be
current
better
housing
if they were not
selection
deciding.
policy.
'cause
Did
they
you
don't-
read that
also
over,
references-
Aaron?
Yes, I read all of it. And it also says that it's referencing the current housing selection policy
Yeah.
that's in place now. So this committee would be following the current policy.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked for a policy review. If there's something council feels needs to change, we don't like the date of application.
It, this looks like it, is basically, instead of, giving the housing department here in the band office, the go ahead to select who gets what, then there is actually a committee that's formed that takes over that process.
Yeah.
But the committee are members of the community
That's right.
that is doing that. And that would be a good idea too, so that people out in the community cannot point the finger at the band office. But at the same time, those people that sit on the committee, that if they're brought in, there's got to be some kind of conflict of interest, because everybody is related to everybody here in the community. So, how big of committee are we looking at here? Is it like 3, 5?
5 people.
5 people? Well, that would, I think that's a good number, because then you don't get too big to have too many arguments. And if you have 5 and then one person is, as long as those members of the committee are all from different families, so that we don't run into a problem with 3 of them on the committee being related to the one applicant kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so in this terms of reference, it does outline the structure of the committee. And it would consist of a housing representative chair who's non-voting, a housing representative who's a recording secretary who's also non-voting, 5 elected committee members who are voting, so that would be our community members, and housing portfolio holder who is non-voting. So the only voting individuals are those 5 community members.
And the other thing, if it's a committee of council, the chief is an ex officio member of all council committees. So is this a council committee or is it a different kind of committee?
I interpret those 5 would be community members.
Yes.
Community members. And
I'll move
you
this.
know what? Being
move it.
honest, I think that's a good idea. I think we should roll with this.
Yep. I'll move.
Aaron?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know, like, these other people that are not, I'm not opposed to having community members on this at all, but I also just want to point out that likely having these 5 selected from, even if it is from the band office, they're still our community members.
Absolutely.
They're not in housing. The problem is with people thinking that housing has nepotism, but
I don't think housing
this is
wants
getting
to
away
be-
from that.
I don't think housing likes the idea because there's such a need out there to start prioritizing whose need is the greatest and they have to go by whatever policy council puts in place. And council did approve to do away with the point system and look at the date of the application. Because there was a long complaints about, I applied 20 years ago and now I bounced somebody else that just applied last week has bounced up ahead of me in terms of their number priority on the list. So that's why they went to the date of the application, to keep it fair. So as your application moved up, a house became available, if you were qualified with, the landlord reference checks and you could afford it, then that was offered to you, then they'd go to the next one on the list according to the date they applied. Now with this point system, if you got more kids than somebody's got 3 kids, 5 kids, and somebody's got 2, the one who's got more kids is going to rank higher because they get points for all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the council did away with that point system a long time ago.
They would still have to adhere to the policy. So now the community members would have to get some training
Okay.
on that policy and be able to apply that policy
Okay, the
to
other
the
thing,
situation.
okay, Chris, go ahead.
So I support, or I move to implement this, and I will provide the staff and the new committee folks with the old point system, and I'll take any bets that they'll probably want to use that as a very good guideline in their selections. But I
That would
move
be,
to
that would
support
be up to
this.
them.
Yep,
That would be up to them
absolutely.
as the new
Yep.
committee. They are a committee, they decide. And whatever they decide, we support because they are the committee. I think it's a good idea. Personally.
I think that before you make a decision to make it purely community, you need to consider your enforcement for confidentiality too. If they're not employees, how do you enforce confidentiality? How do you reprimand? How do you proceed if there are breaches that could be like really potentially devastating to some people?
It could be devastating to the band if they breach confidentiality and somebody sues us.
But when they also do the selection, they don't have to have the name on the list. They could just have particulars like how
Yeah.
the list that we have in here is.
The other thing that the community has a horrible habit of doing in many cases is the parents are doing the business of their adult children. That cannot be. If it's the applicant they have to deal with, not their parents or their brother or their sister or their grandfather or their neighbor. It has to be that person who's applying for that unit. That's the only person they're authorized to talk to, unless that person includes other people in writing to be involved in their discussion.
Well, there is a whole section in the terms of reference document around conflict of interest. And it clearly outlines when a review committee member must leave the room and not be involved in that discussion.
Never ever discuss the business of an adult person with their relatives, because it will get you in trouble.
Okay, but if they base their decisions based on applicant number instead of the applicant's name, there wouldn't be no conflict of interest there.
So Chris has made a motion to proceed with the terms of reference for the committee. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes. Yep. It'll be a work in progress. They'll
And do
work
you
at it
also
again.
want to review the the point system or the point system and the,
Yeah, we'll put it before them. No, they'll put it before them, just as a tool.
okay, so it's moved by Chris. Is there a seconder for that motion to move ahead with this committee?
I'll second that.
Chris Brandt.
Are you changing the terms of the, that have been put out for this committee?
Okay, I
So
just
there's-
want to know,
like, there's a
if
briefing
it's a
now?
community committee, where's the appeal
Well, just never said community committee, just said committee.
committee?
5 committee members.
Chief, I'm going to suggest that our current appeal process would still apply because we're still utilizing our current policies.
Okay, now, as I mentioned before, I want clarity. Am I supposed to be an ex officio member of this committee? Because that's normally the law. If it's a committee of council, the chief is automatically an ex officio member of that committee. I don't think the chief votes, but yeah, I'm allowed to go and question things if they're doing.
Yeah, I
I
don't
just
see
wanna
why
point
that
out
would
that
change.
I
this
usually
briefing note was
don't,
put
and I probably
forward.
wouldn't, but I do have that privilege.
Sorry, Aaron, I didn't hear you.
I just want to point out that this briefing note, so this current motion is being put forward with the MBQ Housing Director, 2 members from the Social Department, 1 member from the Finance Department, and the Housing Portfolio Holder on this agreement. So if that's being changed, then I think it needs to,
No, that would not be changed.
No, it's not being changed, but the Tyendinaga says that the chief is an ex officio, a member of all committees.
okay, so it's going, we're just approving it as it's displayed here?
That's correct, right?
I normally wouldn't go to the meeting, but I guess if there was an issue that I wanted clarified, I probably would
yeah,
go. And
I
and I
don't-
do have the right to go there.
Yeah, and that's not what she's saying. She's saying, are we approving it as it stands?
Yeah,
Right.
with the committee that,
Yeah.
the community part, and I agree with that. I think it would give it a go and see how it goes.
Okay,
Is it-
then I second it.
Okay, Aaron?
Chris second.
That's
Chris
okay.
Brandt
Aaron.
second. No, I gotta take you because you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It's been moved by Chris, the second by Chris Brandt. And so Aaron, you're in favor, and are you in favor, Gloria?
Yep.
Okay, the motion is carried. Okay, the MBQ housing developments. MBQ is working on detailed design for new housing developments located at Huron Grant Phase 3, Sadie's Lane Phase 2, and Beach Road. Beach Road is currently under review on objections from an adjacent property owner, and that's they have horses and they don't want it developed. MBQ to reaffirm the approval for these locations. You approve the locations for where? So do you approve Sadie's Lane and Huron Grant Drive, or are you approving the Beach Road as well?
Which number is that, Chief?
I'm just going by the order. It's in my agenda. It's number 34.
34. Just popped up.
Oh, how come I don't have a 34 on my?
Because it was in 35's folder.
So go back to your main folder and go
Okay.
back.
It's a number 34 in my binder here. Chris?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out for the new council that the family in relation to the beach road development, I'd give them my word that if it was going to move forward, they would be afforded an opportunity to come talk to council.
Okay, so do you want to approve
It might not happen
Sadie's
for
Lane?
years.
You want to approve Sadie's Lane and Huron Grant Drive then, so we can get on with something? Because we're going to stall, and the money's all going to be gone for the community, and we're going to be talking about it here, and we're not going to get a cent because it'll be all gone. There's a lot of pressure, and other communities have their plans shovel ready, and they're ready to go. We need to get on with it if we're going to get anything done. That money's not going to last long because the need is so great.
No, I'm good with Huron Brant. I'm good with Sadie's. They're already existing development.
They're
I just as a
already-
courtesy.
Those projects are already have been in the works, and let's finish subdivisions rather than starting new subdivisions and taking up all the roadblock wherever there has been a development already constructed for years. Let's finish those ones first before we jump on to the next one.
So Huron Brant was identified. Sadie's Lane, what about Beach Road? That's new.
That's why I'm saying, afford them the opportunity, the courtesy to
Okay,
come
can-
speak to
can we-
council. And as Chris said, I thought we were gonna move on getting this expansion of the peatland system, the first chance we got. And that was a couple of years ago, because we already have a development on the go right there.
I would
And
say,
as Chris was saying.
I would say, Huron, Brant, and Sadie's Lane, absolutely.
I agree.
And then we're more consultation with the back pieces.
We're live.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so that, okay,
It's community. It's community business. Yeah.
okay, so then we'll approve Huron, Brant, and Sadie's Lane for now. Is there a mover for that?
I'll move.
I'll second that.
Well, North Street was on there too, wasn't it?
That's already approved.
Yeah, but this whole motion is just to reaffirm the previously approved option number 1, approved to reaffirm TMC commitment to the previous selected locations.
Yeah. But North Street wasn't mentioned here.
It is mentioned here.
Where are you seeing that? And
On April 7th, the Tyendinaga Council obtained Greer Galloway Group to complete a report and investigate 6 potential locations for new housing developments. Total contract for $132,000. Ridge Road, Beach Road, Huron Brant Development, Sadie's Lane Development, Upper Slash Road, and North Street.
yeah, I remember that meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so in this agenda item, he's looking for, to reaffirm your approval for these specific 3 locations.
Okay,
Just
so
these
why do
three.
we have to reaffirm it? If we've already approved it? Chris,
Chief, can I amend my motion that
you can?
reaffirm support for this, but the beach road is the lowest priority?
Okay, we can word it like that.
Is that okay, Chris?
Yeah,
Focus on everywhere
absolutely. And
else.
like we say before, let's finish off the subdivisions that we've already have started. Let's finish those subdivisions so there's no more space. We move on to the next one.
Okay, so then, right now, it's, so the word will be that Huron Brant, Sadie's Lane, North Street are approved, and Beach Road development is low priority.
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
The 2 Chris's, are you in favor, Aaron? And Aguari?
Yep.
Yep.
Motion is carried.
Chris
Miracle, then Chris Brandt.
Hockey second.
So, staff appreciation event. Now, this is simple. An event is being held to acknowledge staff celebrate retirees April 25th, 3 to 5:30 p.m. We are hoping the TMC can attend. Members of TMC can be present with their gifts, retirees with their gifts. Now, is this, I thought it had been changed to 5 o'clock.
It has.
So just note that then it's now 5 o'clock instead of 3 to 5:30, right?
I'll be absent that day, Chief.
Okay, so you need to confirm your attendance so they know how many meals to order. How many we got confirmed so far? 30?
So far.
It might pick up now.
So does council, they just want to know who's attending from council, right? I'm going to attend.
Mhm.
Aguari will be away.
Linda will be away.
Aguari and Linda will be absent. Are you gonna go, Chris?
I'm just, yeah,
I'm attending. I've already emailed them.
Aaron is attending,
yes, I'll attend, I guess, yeah.
and I thought Curtis said he was going to attend as well. So just put those ones down for now. And just know that Aguari and Linda will be attending other meetings.
And that starts at 5?
5 to 7.
Yeah.
5.
Who will move that then to acknowledge that's who's attending from council?
I'll move.
Aguari,
I'll second that.
Chris, are you attending?
Yes.
Chris
Oh,
Miracle, are
sorry.
you attending?
Yeah,
Volunteer appreciation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Chris Merrick will be attending.
No, not the volunteer.
No, it's a staff appreciation dinner.
Oh, yeah, that too.
They volunteered on that.
Staff appreciation dinner for the retirees. Okay. Where's that gonna be? Where?
The council has.
Okay. So we have the 415 Beach Road hydro connection. To recommend that we approve this. Is there a motion? The road superintendent has reviewed it and there doesn't seem to be any issues.
I approve, or I move.
Moved by Oguari. Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Aaron? Anyone opposed?
No.
Do I have to sign all these plans now?
Can we take a couple minutes, chief?
We can. Go ahead. Thank you, Shelley. So we're back, we're resuming from our break. Okay, Sherry Miracle is asking that the council identify a couple of days for some strategic planning. This is to look at what it is you want to accomplish with council, and then there's a proposal here to have hire a consultant to conduct this, would be Dan Brandt and Associates.
And it would be a 2-day session, strategic planning session for the executive team and chief and council. Off-site, so we would probably take it to the fire hall or the community center to do. And he also can provide us, if we so wish, with governance workshops for councilors. That's another option for down the road, but I really am focused on that strategic planning session.
And it's good. Dear Sherry, it's Dave Boyle. Before further our discussion is, we would like to provide you with a proposal for the implementation of a governance workshop that would be offered to the executive MBQ, naming the chief and council. The governance has been defined as to refer to structure and processes that are designed to ensure accountability, transparency, responsiveness, rule of law, stability, equity, inclusiveness, empowerment, and broad-based participation. While these are general metrics of governance, however, these goals are achieved is the key to having an effective administration. And the workshop envisions a high level of introduction that can be undertaken in a half a day. The alternative is an evening session, 7 to 11. We have delivered governance training to First Nations councils and nonprofit organizations with these sessions over 2 days. However, the specific session we would anticipate to be fit into time allotted. Also teach a course at Queen's University on Indigenous governance will likely be a comprehensive course from May 6th to the 10th. The primary objective is to provide principles of governance and responsibility of a governing body. Importantly, the line of responsibility between the governing body and the administrative duties will be a major point as a takeaway. For the MBQ workshop, it can be conducted in the MBQ offices, and I would prefer to use PowerPoint presentation which serves as speaking notes. It will be more of a lecture than a participatory class, but certainly questions can be invited.
Is that the governance one?
For preparation, I will prepare a PowerPoint and have documentation folder. Each TMC will follow and make notes as well as we go through. I would also propose to provide each of them with a book that could be used as an ongoing reference for their duties. The book is entitled Rebuilding Native Nations by Miriam Jorgensen. I can refer certain actions in the book that would be useful. I am prepared to undertake the workshop whenever council wishes to confirm a time. The fees for preparation of market plus handouts and conducting the workshop would be $1,800. We agree to book the distribution. I can order the books at an extra cost of $300. So
That'd be the governance work,
that'll
half
be the
a day
governance, and this is strategic plan. And so Dan's got a proposal for this.
for the strategic plan, yes. MBQ strategic plan.
That's the next one.
Chris?
Chief, I have a question. Was this tendered RFPs?
I did receive quotes from other facilitators that were non-Indigenous, and the year fee is double.
Okay, so you did do a tender process? Or
I
RFP?
just stepped into this, so I only saw quotes that had come forward from our directors that had provided the information. No, an RFP process did not occur. If we do an RFP process, we will be extending this possibly another 2 to 3 months. So that'll be up to you guys if you want to proceed that way.
So how much is this going to cost overall then?
For the strategic 2-day strategic planning session, his fee, and then I'm guesstimating about 32,000
So total cost 28,275. Is it plus these
for his
extras?
fee. And then, of course, we would need refreshments, that sort
Okay.
of thing.
Chris?
But you did, quotes were received?
Quotes had been received previous to me starting.
Yeah, as long as it was a competitive process is my concern.
An RFP process didn't occur. We reviewed I've reviewed the quotes that were received,
Yeah.
and I looked at what we're gonna, why I selected this one is Dan Brandt is the consultant, has a lot of knowledge about the running of our administration and our processes.
And our
I think could
community.
lead us through this process in a very effective way. And at the end of it, we come out with an actual fulsome report that I can then take and put into work plans.
Okay.
So I've seen his products, I've seen his work. He comes with lots of experience, and he is a community member.
Yeah. It wasn't sole source, that's what I'm trying to say.
Two other quotes were looked at that were submitted to me by my directors, and the one I looked at, I didn't go any further when I saw the bottom line.
Okay, I'm good.
Think I agree with doing this work, Sherry. I think we can let Dan know that we're interested if council makes a motion to approve it, but we're going to have to wait until we have Curtis and Linda here to find out when they're here, because I want the full council to participate.
Yes, it is imperative for everyone to attend for the full 2 days.
So can we defer this till we have full council?
Are you good with that, Aaron?
Yes, yep, that's fine.
Aaron, I'm suggesting, because Curtis is absent and Linda's absent, and then we need to find out what their availability is to defer this till we have the full council here. Chris?
Yes, sorry, maybe I had my hand over my little mic, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay, who'll move to defer it till full council?
Question, Chief? Sorry.
Chris, go ahead.
Do we have to defer it for full council, or when we give approval in principle, subject to
You know,
them being available?
we approve in principle, but the date will have to be established when we have full council.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important for us to move on this work because,
Yeah.
you know, only have 2 years. We're already into April. So it would be good to get ourselves organized and, you know, so you guys can put forward your visions on the work that you would like to see happen in conjunction with the work that's already underway. So with our administration.
Yeah, we need a mandate from council to lobby on what they want. So we've got a mandate to get the water lines built on the rest of the road. Is there going to be extensions of natural gas? We need a mandate from council to lobby for that. We know we need more housing. We know we need infrastructure, these subdivisions developed. In order to have a place to build houses, we need to upgrade our power lines.
So as you can see, we already have a pretty full mandate that we're looking at. So
These unopened road allowances, are they going to be tendered? If they're going to be tendered, get on with it, because you've got money.
and this is part of the whole strategic planning session that we need to be undertaking.
Okay, let's get, we'll do, when the rest of the council come in, when we have full council, let's set some dates.
Let's set date, just put on
and
next
get on
date.
with it.
Yep, and just pick the date. So that I'd say approve to consult with Dan, just, but we need to find a date with the other two councilors can be here.
Can I possibly do that by email and try to get,
You can do it by email.
get the dates locked in by email by all the counselors?
I'm good with any dates, as long as it's not weekends and, like I said,
Well, with the full agendas you guys have, that may have to be an option. So it'll be up to,
We've had a Saturday meeting before, and sometimes it was productive because we didn't have any other distraction.
yeah, but, if I'm up and going with what I'm doing, you're gonna make me lose out on $800 for one day.
Oh, I don't want to do that, Chris.
So it's, although the sooner the better for me because.
All right,
we're
then,
still
Chris,
not
why
up
don't
to
you,
go.
because your employment's affected, and yours is affected too,
I'm
Artie?
currently unemployed, so.
Okay, so then you give us some dates when you're available.
could be a
Through the
Friday
week.
and Saturday
No, through a week.
through the week.
It's gotta be through the weekend, and I mean, this is just, like, I mean, right now, on the weekends is when I start my own venture. you know,
Okay.
And I don't wanna be eating into that.
Okay,
Yeah. So Chief, can we not do approval in principle, and then the rest of the whole council
Yeah.
says here's our
Well,
dates,
well,
but
let's
then we're
approve the
locked in with
consult-
Dan, and it's
Yeah.
wheels are in motion.
So it gives me the confirmation to move forward with hiring Dan. Let him start the preliminary work, which is basically to interview
We put
people.
out a couple dates, yeah.
I'll
And
move
then
that.
we lock down dates.
I'll move that, Chief.
Chris Miracle is approving the contract with Dan, and the date will be determined after consultation with full council.
Yeah.
Okay, who will second it?
One second.
Ogari? How are you voting, Aaron?
I agree.
Yeah.
And Chris, he's your uncle, so
Yeah.
you declaring conflict of interest?
I'll come to the meeting and that's it. Conflict.
The motion is carried. CMHC Section 95 Expression of Interest. Approved to submit to construct 14 tiny houses within North Street Development Phase 1. Approve the preliminary budget of $2,801,400, which includes $280,140 contribution from MBQ. Does council approve? We got to get this in or else we miss out.
Chief, I'll move approval in principle, which means make application, but it gives us time to potentially tinker with plans, costs, etc., to make it so that potentially MBQ is not contributing, or if MBQ is contributing, maybe we can get 2 or 3 additional small houses out of this. Clear as mud?
Well, anyway, let's just deal with the applying, then all this can come back later. How's that sound?
Thank you, I'll move.
Who will second it?
I'll second.
Guari?
Approval in principle.
Approved in principle to apply to submit the expression of interest. He's approving to submit the expression of interest, but he will want more discussion on what's going to be built. Is there anybody opposed to the motion?
No.
Okay, motion is carried. Motion to adopt the agenda to go, hey, we got some additional issues here.
Hey, before we move, Diane hasn't come back for us to go over those applications.
Bring her in.
Well,
Okay.
she's still here.
Well, she's checking on her to come back and provide us with that information.
Okay, do you want to check to see if she's gonna have it ready today? Okay, so anyway, the town of Deserano needs a letter signed. I'll read it to you. Because there's a deadline to apply for this funding and only municipalities can apply the Housing Enabling Fund. I'm writing to convey the Mohawk Survey full support with the town of Deserano application of the Housing Enabling for the refurbishment of the Mill Street wastewater lift station. As you know, MBQ is located within the town of Deserano and has a common borders on the northwest side of the town limits. Mohawk Survey and town of Deserano are parties to wastewater servicing agreements that provides MBQ with potable water and wastewater collection treatment. We currently have approximately 418 service units. The Mill Street lift station is a critical wastewater collection component that services North Street, where the communities share a common border. As discussed, the MBQ is proposing a service. Our Phase 1 residential subdivision development comprised of 26 homes, 19 multi-unit triplex and in-ground wastewater infrastructure on North Street. The wastewater collection system in that area flows to Mill Street lift station. Future plans also include a future second phase comprised of 33 residential units. We understand that the limitations of the Mill Street wastewater lift station to support any future residential development at this time. Therefore, most fully supports the town of Red lead initiative for the application of the housing enabling water system. A housing enabling water system, is that wastewater? Should that be wastewater? Water system program for funding to undertake the necessary improvements to the Mill Street lift station. The project is mutually beneficial to both parties, increasing the capacity of the system. That sort of is relevant for both our communities. If information is required, please contact me or Todd Crane. Does council approve to send this letter?
Is this the letter of support, Chief?
For their application for funding.
Yeah,
We can't apply, but they can.
Okay, perfect.
And that lift station is needed for that North
I
Street
know
development.
Todd is looking for signature on that.
I will approve that, or I'll motion it.
Send that letter.
Yes.
I'll second, Chief.
And second with the two, Chris Brandt and Chris Miracle. Motion's carried.
Aguirre, you have those,
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
TSSAs.
Yeah, so these are for those, we have to go back to those
Here.
businesses.
You want to hand that over to Chris?
No, they're just for review, so show them to
The dates.
they've got the approvals.
Okay.
Yeah, that's their TNCC license.
2024.
Oh, you just shouldn't cheat.
They can repeat it to the chief, they to show that they expired this year and not the last year when she had in file.
What is this for, Uncle? Do you want to repeat that? I don't think Chris heard you. Can you? Chris Miracle is asking for a community meeting date.
Well, I think I thought we were doing it.
Do you?
You gave me.
I had 3 copies. I thought they were all the same, so I presume that one is the rest of our counselors.
I didn't have one, but
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so we got Robin's, back to the gas station. We've got one here for Robin. It expires in December of 24. The one for 49 Cookstock expires on September of 24. The one for Fast Freddy's expires on the November 2024, and the other one for John Brandt expires in December of 2024, so they're all good.
yes.
So do we make a motion for all 4 of them?
yeah.
Yep.
They'll have to be recorded as separate motions, so, because they're separate applications, okay? So you'll move all 4? Gwari?
He moved it.
And you're seconding
I'll
it?
second it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gwari, but make 4 different separate motions. Is anyone opposed? Okay, then I'll update.
You got that,
on
Aaron?
Aaron, you're agreeable to that?
Yep.
Motion is carried. Okay, I'll sign that off then. So then Chris has put something on the agenda to set a community meeting to deal with housing, property standards, bylaws, building code, bylaw, etc. So somebody has to present this information, somebody who has technical information, and that's not me. So who's going to do that? Chris?
Chief, I'd just like to say that the implementation of the selection committee would almost eliminate housing from that, but I still stand by property standards and building code bylaw examples that we should be getting some direction from.
So what do you want to do? Take out, scrub out housing here?
Sure. Or leave it in, that's up to you guys. I'm just saying that was a huge issue that I think we somewhat resolved.
Because the question is going to be, I'm in need of a house, and what are your plans to build houses? When is it going to start happening? Do you have money to do it?
It is, the time we're in right now, Chris, is very, people are desperate for housing
Right.
all over.
Yeah.
So I just to caution you, what you could be, up against.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the
and-
other thing that it's going to be hard to control is the lambasting of staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Particularly when staff, get houses, and staff are entitled to apply for houses like any other band member is, and to have their application reviewed. It doesn't disqualify them nobody's disqualified based on where they work.
Mm-hmm.
If they're a band member and they meet the criteria, then they're eligible to
And
apply.
the other items, I'm okay, we do them internally. I'm just saying, I think we're way overdue for a community meeting. Because prior, COVID's one thing.
To
but
me,
then-
I think we need to figure out with this community planning, what is our plan to address the need in the community? We can't just go and just have everybody rattle off. Because at the end of the day, you have to come back here, and then you got to put the follow-up here at council table. Then what decisions is council prepared to make based on what they've heard?
Community meeting too, that you get, well, you don't get numbers out to it, so you don't really get a true picture of an actual community meeting. You get 20 people out or
Even
30
with the
people.
survey, there was 900 people that responded, and the people that showed up at the community meeting didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
But
Because they
we
didn't
can't
do it.
we can't make decisions based on whoever roars the loudest at a committee meeting, and ignore the other people that have had their say too. Everybody's say is important, and it's equal.
That just goes back to, we need more participation from the community when we send out surveys and when we do these meetings. We need actually more than.
And the
30 people showing
reason
up to
why
meetings.
committee members will not come out is because of,
And council represents the community.
And the reason that people will not come out is because of the kinds of grandstanding, the kinds of abuse that people take at the community. People say, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to go and be part of that, or even witness. I don't want to be part of that kind of meeting. Because it lacks the decorum that a proper community meeting should have.
Yeah, they say the hill I'm gonna die, and I'm not digging my heels, I'm just saying it's out there, but yeah, I'm
Like,
okay.
I'm not disagreeing that we should have a community meeting to discuss these
Yeah,
things.
yeah, I hear, I'm listening, I'm
I'm just-
agreeing with you. That's what I'm
it's not
saying,
the
yeah,
most-
okay, whatever. Yeah.
Most effective way to get it
Yeah.
done, I think.
Yeah.
in my terms.
Yeah, I'm not being cynical, I honestly, I'm
I'm
listening.
not
I hear, I
opposed to
agree.
it, but I just think we better be prepared, and I don't think we have a plan, a housing plan.
No.
We build as we get the money.
Let's do the strategic planning session, and that could be part of that discussion.
Like, council's mandated me to go and lobby for money for some of these water line projects. And for these, and I would think that water line would include the water line for the and sewer system for the subdivision.
It's
You
just we
approved to
need,
identify proceed with that, so I would lobby for that because you want that, you identified that.
But can we not, you're talking about a community meeting to discuss.
More so get
I
input.
mean, it's just, well, the input, and we also talked about, a board.
Yeah,
A board from the community themselves, and we say, okay, in your board, these are kind of some of the things that we'd like to see, but it's up to you guys, because you are the board, and we will support you, and, because, you've been chosen for a reason, to be fair to everybody, and some of these things can be presented to them on our behalf, kind of things. Uncle Chief is gonna be sitting in on it too, right? Because if it is legally, through, Indian Affairs, he has to.
I mean, I got to go and lobby for money because we've got to be there pounding that drum because we're not
Yes.
going to get any.
and I think we need to, it's great, like in theory, but we need to structure it.
gotcha, yep, I'm
It
on board.
needs work, it needs thought, it needs to be structured, it needs to be specific.
And the
So we'll
council,
defer
and the
until we
members
have
of
something more
council,
concrete.
Yeah,
and the members of council need to have a meeting, what information is going to be presented and how is it,
and
who does,
how it will be presented. So there's a lot of detail to going into a community meeting and a lot of planning to get the best outcomes, to get the best way to move forward. So I'm not saying I also support a community,
So
but
why don't
let's
we-
put more thought into
Okay.
it, all right? And really plan it out well.
Yeah, and as I said, that implementation of a new committee was gonna hopefully address a lot of community concerns.
Well, hopefully it does.
So,
and-
so to me, when you're going to develop these two subdivisions, North Street, there should be a plan of what these houses look like,
Yeah.
what it's costing the band, where does the money come from, what demographics of our need list does it help, and same thing with the other two places.
And that's the information
And
we
you
need to
need-
share with community.
And you need a mixture of housing. You need tiny houses. There's one person that maybe just needs something like the shelter. Then you have families that are forming new
Transitional
families that
housing.
will want children.
Yeah, transitional housing, housing for families, housing for seniors. It's huge.
We have a diverse community, and the other thing is remember, there's over 2,200 band members, and we have, 80 that came out to the 2 days, and some of them were the same people.
So I think more work and thought and needs to go into the planning, and maybe after our strategic planning, once we're a little more working well together, we can start to plan for things like this. And how many we want to have every year. Maybe we want to host 2 or 3 a year focused on these areas.
And the other thing is that, but the biggest thing is going to be, you're going to hear from the people who didn't get a house. And they're going to want to have you rattle off why they didn't get a house. We can't do that because it's discussing an individual application in front of the community. And then if they say, go ahead and I don't care, and they sign to give you a letter, then are you prepared to do that?
But we have to inform because we have scarce resources
Because
and
I don't-
high need.
And I'm not really prepared to deal with individual applications because I don't deal with that.
Okay.
Staff deal with that.
Next item.
Staff deal with that.
Okay, yeah, that's, I'm on number, 52.
So let's have some input of developing a plan then. Can we make a motion to develop a plan?
Motion to defer, motion to defer.
I'd like to defer it until after we have our session, our
Yeah,
planning
absolutely.
session.
I agree with that one.
Okay, Ogwari, you gonna second that?
I'm fine with that too.
Okay. Aaron then?
We're in there.
Well, Chris made the motion to defer it.
Did he? Oh, I didn't see his hand up.
It's because you got a computer in front of you this time.
Yeah, I know, I can't say anything but my computer, I'm so proud of
Okay.
myself.
All right, we need a motion to go in camera.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a seconder?
Okay, I'll second.
Chris Miracle? Chris Brandt?
Chris Frank.
He doesn't want to be a miracle.
Oh, no.
Yes, he does. He does.
He's already halfway there.
Is anybody anybody opposed? Seeing nothing, go in camera. Motion's carried.